Hey everybody, John from Movie Burners here, back with another movie review, and the film I'm going to be reviewing today is the 2016 release Free Fire. And if I say 2016, that kind of confuses me because I do recall watching it last year, not 2016. I don't know what crack the studio was on when they put it out as a 2016 film, but I digress. This is a film which, I'm going to be honest, does lack in the story or plot department. I mean, there's none to speak of, but what it does is it makes up for it in more ways than one with a cast which is just bursting at the seams with chemistry. It also has a very enjoyable, relentless and maniacal theme of needless violence, which really permeates every single element and second of this film. It was of course directed by Ben Wheatley, and I have to say it was one of my favourite films from last year. Out with the main ones, it certainly didn't make my top 10 or anything like that, but it was easily within my top 20. It just hit all the right notes for me. As I mentioned before, it does majorly lack in story for me. The premise and development throughout are incredibly simple, but it somehow works, and it's fun, it's enjoyable, and it's an hour and a half of pure escapism. It's set in the 1970s within the confines of a Boston warehouse. Quite a unique setting. I don't recall a film which had a warehouse as its all-encompassing setting. But what it has two opposing groups meeting for a botched arms deal. On one side, you've got a group consisting of IRA hardmen, headed up by Chris and Frank, played by Cillian Murphy and Michael Smiley, respectively. And the other features a neurotic Rhodesian, once mistaken for a child genius, and his ex-Black Panther associate, complete with a menacing hitman. I actually can't recall what he was in this film, but I'm pretty sure he was a hitman. Those three that I mentioned going by the names of Vernon, Martin and Ord, respectively, played by Sharlto, Copley, Babu Cisse and Armie Hammer. Now, I don't know what parent would name their child Ord, but I have to say, despite the ridiculous name, he is a man possessed in this film, and not a man to be trifled with at that. Acting as a go-between of sorts, and the architect behind the meeting is Justine, played by brilliant Brie Larson. The tension builds almost immediately as the Irish await a couple of their underlings, if you'd like, arriving before the meeting with Ord, whose obnoxious and dismissive taunting tone does nothing to alleviate any of the tension which is built prior to that. And it's really the underlings that act as the catalyst for the mayhem which ensues, and believe me, mayhem ensues. Vernon, you see, is a bit of a dodgy git, and heightens the tension by trying to hoodwink the Irish, selling them the wrong guns and seemingly getting away with it too. Unfortunately for him though, underlings Steve-O, played by Sam Riley, and Harry, played by Jack Renner, come to blows after a freak double crossing of paths. Steve-O, you see, had actually glassed Harry's young cousin the night before, and he certainly wasn't in a remorseful mood when the pair's paths crossed again, really taunting Harry at every opportunity. And when the shots are fired, and I have to say I wasn't surprised when the shots were fired, the entire deal goes south, and the warehouse soon turns into a war zone. The events literally playing out in slow motion at one point to very funny effect. At this point, any notion of a plot goes out the window. The main objective appears to be who's going to claim the briefcase packed with the cash that's dropped in no man's land between the two warring parties. Vernon in particular can be heard repeatedly screaming about it in his almost humorously high-pitched South African accent. Later he's heard telling Ord, without a hint of irony, "What the fuck is wrong with you? How can you think about money in a time like this?" When all he's thought about in the entire film prior to that was the money. To make matters worse, there's a rat in their midst, and a third party soon turns up in the form of a sniper, taking pot shots at the exposed bodies on the floor before him. This chaotic shootout continues on for what seems like an eternity, certainly the entirety of the running time, with some intermittent ceasefires dotted throughout, and it was incredibly entertaining for a reason that I honestly can't really put my finger on. Maybe it was just the mindlessness of it all. I do like that from time to time. The dialogue between the characters was a massive plus for this film, and just the way they utilised sound in general. It was witty, realistic and hilarious at times as the insults were hurled around and retorts quickly sent flying back. My favourite of these was perhaps Frank's cracker to Ord, where he said, "Save it for your fucking autobiography." The timing was absolutely perfect, and the little laugh that rang out after it only really added to it. There was so many like that though, and it is honestly difficult to choose. I could quote the film endlessly. There also was a very cool use of sound in general. As I says, it was a big positive for me, and I'm not totally sure if this was done deliberately or not. I'm pretty sure it was, but there was numerous times where characters could be heard continuing their conversations off camera, as attention turned away from them to another character in the story, and this was also evident during the wild crossfire in the extended middle act. An example of this being the aforementioned screams about the briefcase from Vernon, and it was a subtle little detail which I picked up, and I liked it. Another hugely enjoyable aspect was the real ensemble performance from the cast. As I mentioned before, I thought there was a bucket load of chemistry between every one of them, and a combination of this and also the well written dialogue made it a real joy to watch for me. Cillian Murphy, Brie Larson, Armie and Sharlto Copley were all excellent as they went to town on each other. Larson in particular, with her flip-flopping between sides throughout the film, was probably my favourite in the film, and the grudge match between Sam Riley and Jack Rayner's characters, it really threaded its way throughout the story and was brought to a very fitting conclusion. Now I've left a few names out, but there honestly wasn't one actor from the main core of characters that was poor in this. One of the examples being Armie Hammer. As I says, he played a hitman character, and it should have probably been superfluous to the main story, but such was the way this film was crafted. You felt like every single character at some point would maybe come out the victor in what was just pure and utter carnage. Now, it really did remind me of a Tarantino film in a hell of a lot of ways, with the excellent dialogue, music at times, and just the manner in which side characters were given relevance, as I said. And this film really should be enjoyed with as little spoilers as possible, so I'll not prattle on any more with that in mind. There's not much more I can say other than watch this bloody film, literally bloody film, because it is highly entertaining and well worth giving up an hour and a half of your life to see. And I'll be giving it a 4 out of 5. Remember guys, if you're enjoying the content we're putting out, then be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and iTunes, and give us a little follow on Facebook at Movie Burner Entertainment and on Twitter at Movie Burners. You can also catch up with all the latest reviews we're putting out at the Movie Burner blog on movieburnerentertainment.org. Until the next time, goodbye.